Welcome to the Star Wars Stuff podcast, where we're talking about all things Star Wars. My name is James,
My name's David.
and unfortunately, you can't see my mouth, but I am talking. I promise. It's not like a like a pre-recording or anything like that. But yes, we hope everybody had a very Merry Christmas, and we hope everybody got to spend time with their families. And I don't know. Hopefully, you're all safe, and hopefully, you're all safe. And on our Facebook group, we some people were posting pictures of their Star Wars haul for Christmas, and it makes me laugh because Star Wars fans are the easiest people to shop for. We are the easiest people to buy stuff for. It's like if it says Star Wars on there, we're gonna love it. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Did you get anything Star Wars for Christmas?
Yeah, I got a lot of Star Wars stuff. I think mostly everything was Star Wars stuff. So yeah, I got a whole bunch of stuff. My wife actually shocked me. She bought me the riot baton from The Force Awakens. I have it right here. Yeah, it's right here.
Let me see it. Oh my gosh, does it extend out and everything?
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Holy smokes, that's awesome.
So yeah, it's just like the Force FX lightsabers. So it's
Does it actually like shock you when you touch it or anything?
doesn't shock you, but it's just like the Force FX lightsabers where it vibrates and it changes the sound, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Man, that's pretty awesome.
And I also bought a Christmas present for myself almost last Christmas ago.
Yeah.
So I pre-ordered it, and it arrived like
2 days ago.
before Christmas Eve. So
Yeah.
here's the sideshow Grogu.
Oh my gosh. That is the most adorable thing ever. And kind of creepy, I'm not gonna lie, because it looks very realistic.
Yeah, it's very realistic. So
And is that like the like screen accurate size Grogu and everything? Or
accurate size Grogu. It's 1-to-1 scale from Sideshow Collectibles. And
wow.
here's the shifter knob right here.
Aw.
It's magnetic, so it like pops in there.
That's so cute.
And his little cloak is a snap-on. You can actually take it off.
Well, I don't want to see what's underneath the cloak, please. Just keep it just keep that on, please.
There's a lot of people customizing theirs, and it's pretty cool because you can't really move the limbs. So people are like sawing off his limbs and then putting like those Gorilla Pod extensions on them, so you can actually move his arms up, and you can actually pose them differently. So yeah, the base is pretty cool too. I guess let me show you that. It's like pretty heavy. It's pretty sturdy base, and it's got a nice picture of season 1 on it. Let me try and get it here. So yeah, here it is.
Ooh, oh, that's what I did a top 10 moments in Star Wars. I have to redo my list because that's one of the top moments in all of Star Wars. Was that shot right there?
Yeah,
it's such iconic. I still remember that feeling of seeing Grogu for the first time and seeing the little hand reach out and touching Mandalorian, because it was like, what is this show even going to be about now? It was beautiful. Such a beautiful moment in Star Wars.
Yeah. And we got another shocking moment in this season as well. And yeah, I mean, it's just a great time to be alive right now if you're a Star Wars fan. We've said it so many times.
I almost forgot, though, because I was watching it's funny enough, I was watching Elf yesterday for Christmas, obviously, and I'm watching it, and I forget what her name is, but she's the woman on Tatooine in the Mandalorian. She's also an elf. She's the receptionist.
Yeah,
there.
Peli Motto, Amy
Yeah,
Sedaris. Yeah.
If you don't know her, she's the one in Elf when she's like, "Where did you come from? From the North Pole? From the North Pole?" Like that's her. And I guess Favreau really likes her because he brought her back twice for the Mandalorian. And so I'm watching it, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, the gallery's on." And so I stopped watching Elf on Christmas Day, and I was like, "I'm gonna watch the gallery." And it was I thought it was gonna be the episodic version of how they did it last year, but it looks like they kind of just gave it all to us in one episode. And I don't think we're gonna get the more episodes each week. I think this was all they're gonna give us.
No, they're gonna give us more episodes. We're gonna get 8 episodes.
Oh, is that what they said?
Yeah, I mean that's what we're gonna get. It's season 2 of
Okay,
the
good. Because
gallery. So yeah, we should get an episode per episode of the Mandalorian. Because I mean, they didn't even talk about Luke Skywalker.
I think they did that on purpose.
Well, I mean, yeah, they did that on purpose, obviously, because I mean, a lot of people haven't gotten that huge surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're kind of just waiting still a little bit. But yeah, Jon Favreau did a interview on Good Morning America where he did give a spoiler alert, and he broke down whether or not we're going to get a Book of Boba Fett series and a Mandalorian chapter or Mandalorian season 3. And he basically said, yes, we're going to go into production after Book of Boba Fett. So to me, when he says that, it almost sounds like they're going to start shooting the Mandalorian season 3 after the Book of Boba Fett airs. Yeah. But a lot of media outlets are saying, no, they're going to run concurrently in December. And then some outlets are saying, no, it's going to run in 2022 for the Mandalorian season 3. So there's still a lot of mass confusion here.
Yeah, because I even saw one who said that it was going to be right after that in January of 2022, we're getting the Mandalorian season 3. Like somebody else was saying that too, and I'm like, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see because nobody. I mean, yeah, because the language that he says is, hey, after we're done with season 1 of the Book of Boba Fett, then we're gonna start the Mandalorian season 3. Which for me that makes sense. Which is once the show is complete, then we're going to go into production of season 3 of The Mandalorian. But everyone's thinking that they're going to shoot it next year as well, and it's going to come out right after the Book of Boba Fett. I don't know. And hey, Jacob, he says, I hope we see a bit of George Lucas on the behind the scenes of Ahsoka episode. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would love to see. I mean, you do say, David, that they will be doing more of the galleries, right? Like they have Lucasfilm and Disney said there's going to be more episodes of the gallery.
I think it's just kind of implied. I don't think we just got the one episode and that's it. I think they're going to go deep into season 2. So I really don't think we have to worry. Yeah,
because the more I was watching it, the more I was thinking, oh, I think they're just giving us everything right now because they went through each episode with each of the directors. Then again, so did the first. Then that first episode kind of do the same thing as last season where they kind of went through all the directors.
I think the second or third episode was titled The Directors.
Yeah, that's right. So, and this episode seemed that was what it was all about. And it was pretty cool to see each of these guys and Bryce Dallas Howard, their love for Star Wars, like super, super obvious with everything they were saying, everything they were doing, even the crew. Colin, thanks, man. Even Bryce Dallas Howard said, the crew here is doing everything they can to make this great. And then she even said, like, oh my gosh, like, everyone here is a fan of Star Wars, so it's like we're all little kids, having fun. And that's what the set of The Mandalorian looks like. And it looks awesome. And it's really cool to hear all of their love for Star Wars in every interview they give. George Lucas, I think George Lucas was just there for reference, and as well as, hey, like, how cool is it to be like, hey, George, you want to come onto the set and like just please be here? Yeah, and plus he's Filoni's mentor, so I think Filoni will always have George Lucas somewhere on the set because why not?
Yeah, I think as long as Filoni's there, George Lucas is probably going to show up at some point. And when Ron Howard directed Solo, George Lucas showed up there as well.
Yeah.
And because they have that close connection. I mean, he directed them in American Graffiti. And Ron Howard famously asked George Lucas, do you got any advice on directing? And he said, go into animation because actors aren't that great to work with. I'm paraphrasing, but he was an actor at the time working with George Lucas.
Then that was when Ron Howard said, I think I'm going to direct now. I don't want to act anymore. But it's pretty funny to hear George Lucas's, like, I don't know, his thoughts on acting and actors. And, I don't know, it just cracks me up. He's just like, animation's better. But no, I think George Lucas is there on the sets to help them and give them a few pointers. But from the looks of it, it looks like Favreau and Filoni are in control of that entire set. It looks like Lucasfilm was like, all right, guys, you take it away. You guys know what you're doing. Just do it. And I love to see the little conversations Filoni and Favreau have, because it's almost like the conversations David and I would have if we were working on something Star Wars, which was like, oh my gosh, like what if we do this? What if we do that? And then Favreau, there was one part where Favreau says that's a good trick, and Filoni's like, yeah, spinning's a good trick, and I was like, oh my gosh. And Favreau just rolls his eyes and walked away. I was like, that's amazing. Oh, I love that Favreau was trying to make McClunky a canon thing that you say before you shoot. McClunky, McClunky before you shoot something.
Yeah.
And he asked Filoni, can we do that? Do you think that's... And Filoni was like, don't you dare do that. And if you don't know, it's in the first episode of season 2, whenever he shoots the light, when John Leguizamo's character is hanging upside down, he shoots the light. Before he was going to shoot it, Favreau maybe wanted Mandalorian to say McClunky and then shoot the light and then walk away.
Right.
I mean,
and apparently Sebulba said it in The Phantom Menace as well.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
I have to watch it, The Phantom Menace again. But yeah, I like how they're like, hey, can we let's make it a thing. Let's make this a whole thing in Star Wars that before you do something cool, you say that, and I thought that was just amazing. And it cracked me up.
Yeah, and apparently I think it was going to come out for the 3D release of A New Hope, and that never happened. And then they just modified the Disney Plus streaming version of A New Hope and added McClunky.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because they were going to do those 3D re-releases, which I was so excited for. I mean, I thought that was going to be amazing. And then they were like, nah. But then again, Lucasfilm was, sold to Disney. And then they were like, we got to focus everything on the sequel trilogy. So all that kind of stopped. I did see episode 1 in theaters, though, in 3D. And it was freaking awesome. I even had the 3D glasses with Darth Maul's face on the side. It was pretty cool. I was looking forward. I was looking forward to seeing all of them, but meh.
Yeah, unfortunately, I missed it. But
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was cool. Let me just tell you that it was really cool.
What year was that?
That was in 2000.
That was before the sequel trilogy, right?
Oh yeah, it was way before this. I mean, it wasn't way before, but it was after. I think it was like 12 or 13 is when it happened. Probably 12 is when it happened.
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was great. And I was looking forward to seeing a new Star Wars movie in theaters again, or a new old Star Wars movie in theaters. Yeah. And but yeah, the gallery is really good because I don't know, it just shows us all that Star Wars is in great hands right now. And every single director on The Mandalorian, I trust with more Star Wars and possibly a whole movie. Like any of those directors could make a movie and I'd be like, oh yeah, they get Star Wars. This is gonna be awesome. I mean, did you feel that way watching this or what?
Everyone's really laid back, and from all accounts, that's what we've heard from everyone. Dominic Pace, when he was on the show, he said everyone was super laid back. And when you watch Gallery, you feel like, yeah, everything is super expensive and super complicated, but everyone that's in charge is actually laid back and very calming. And yeah, I would like to experience being on that set and on the volume. And there was actually some shots of the volume where they changed the scene and it's like, oh my gosh, it's not really there.
Yeah.
And it really like throws you for a loop.
Yeah, the whole scene on the episode, The Jedi, with Ahsoka fighting the magistrate there. I mean, I was certain they built that little set for I was certain that they were like, to get this more realistic, let's build the whole thing outside in the back lot to get this look for it. And then you're watching and you're like, none of that was there. Like the walkway and I think the water, and that's it. Everything else was added in on the volume, and that freaks me out at how well they're able to do all of that now. It just, I don't know, man. That just really gets me every time now, because it's like, dude, like anything's possible now with Star Wars, and they're doing a great job in bringing us all of that stuff each week. And I don't know. And they did film outside for 2 of the scenes, which is the Novato set is filmed outside, and then also what was the episode? Robert Rodriguez's episode called the
Tragedy.
The Tragedy was also filmed outside. And man, Robert Rodriguez, I don't know, man. Robert Rodriguez seems like the best thing to happen to Star Wars recently besides Favreau. You know what I mean? Like Robert Rodriguez gets it. If you watch it, he talks about how he was like, I have to bring this character to life, Boba Fett. I have to bring him back in a way that everyone's going to be happy with. And he talks about how he had his boys do like pre-visualization He had his boys dressed up as stormtroopers and Boba Fett had toys flying around, and he made it work. And if you watch that, then you watch the show, and man, he got it. That's exactly how he saw it in his head. And I'm happy that he's now a part of the Book of Boba Fett. Like, that makes me even happier and more excited for the Book of Boba Fett now that Robert Rodriguez is on board for that, because his interview and him talking about Star Wars is just, it's awesome to see him in Star Wars, helping out. I mean, no, that's my opinion.
And he talked about being a fan before The Empire Strikes Back. I didn't know he was this hardcore of a Star Wars fan. And
I knew he was by that documentary when, like I told you, I think I said it last week, whenever he was talking about when the switch from film to digital happened. The only reason he went to digital was because George Lucas said digital is the future. And if you watch that documentary, Robert Rodriguez says, yeah, if Obi-Wan Kenobi says it's digital, I'm going to do digital. And which, if you see Robert Rodriguez at during that time, he did Spy Kids, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and then Sin City, and then all these movies. And he said he could never have done them without the digital camera. So he's been a big, from that interview alone, it made me see that he was a huge fan of Star Wars and that he liked George Lucas. And so him arriving, on Star Wars and doing this episode and saying he had, I forget how many pages, and he had to make it a 9-minute long action sequence, was just the coolest thing ever. And that action sequence didn't feel forced. Like, it didn't feel like it was over the top. It didn't feel obnoxious. It was an awesome episode. And that's
we know he like really stretched out the action sequence, and he talked about it in gallery as well. And yeah, he was just kind of waiting for this to reintroduce Boba Fett to us. And yeah, it was pretty good. And he treated it like that was going to be his only appearance, because apparently he didn't know. And then I guess it went over so well that they hired him on as a producer for the Book of Boba Fett, which the logo came out and it's pretty rad. It's got the old like acid wearing like his armor does. And the new Boba Fett helmet came out on Mando Monday, and I picked that up. So
that's sold out. That's gone. Like, you can't find that thing.
I have each variation of Boba Fett helmet.
Yeah, I see that behind you, you crazy person. That's awesome, though, man.
And the Darksaber, the Force FX Darksaber, went on sale for Mando Monday.
Yes.
And Colin and I both bought that. And then the Vintage Collection 3.5 scale Slave 1 went on sale. And I bought that as well. So, but they all don't come out until sometime in 2021. So
yeah, and I noticed that even last year with the Mandalorian season 1, that all the Grogu stuff didn't start coming out till late in this year, because it's like they don't want to spoil it. They don't want the toys to spoil anything. They don't want any, news of something spoiling anything. So they hold it off until the next year. They don't want to have an episode 1 mistake where John Williams labels one of the songs "The Noble End of Qui-Gon," or like Qui-Gon's Noble End. It's like,
I still can't believe they did that.
And in case y'all don't know, before episode 1 came out, the soundtrack came out, and it was very, very highly anticipated soundtrack because it's Star Wars again. And one of the track's titles was called Qui-Gon's Noble End. So everybody was like, oh, Qui-Gon dies in the movie. That's awesome. And so everybody knew he was going to die before the movie even came out. So I think they're still trying to learn from that mistake and not spoil anything for us, which is why we get the galleries after the show comes out, because they don't want to ruin anything for any of the fans. And yeah, you're right, they completely skipped over Luke Skywalker in the gallery episode. They were like, and then we filmed the Boba Fett scene, and that was cool, and then it's over, and you're just like, okay, but what about Luke? And I've heard people have been reporting that Mark Hamill was on set, and
we know that for sure. He was on set,
but somebody else said like he performed like part of the action, like almost standing there, and then they digitally made him look younger. He didn't do the fighting, obviously, but then they digitally made him look younger, which I don't think that's accurate. I think they had somebody standing there.
Yeah, it was an actor called Max Lloyd Jones. He was there.
Is the same guy who did the Force Awakens scene?
No.
Damn, that'd been pretty cool.
Yeah, this is him right here. I have a picture of him. That's him.
Dude, if they would have just used him, without the makeup, and he's on Luke Skywalker, I'd be like, that's cool. He kind of looks like.
I think on the outset I thought the same thing, but then after a while I was like, yeah, it's good that they put Mark Hamill's face on Luke Skywalker, because
I mean, this is going to be a debate for years of like, do you do that, or do you recast and then give someone else an opportunity to do that? You know what I mean? Like, if they would have brought somebody new in like that and not have the digital effects on him, and then he says, I'm Luke Skywalker, that makes way for a whole new like Adventures of Luke Skywalker, because now you have an actor who they're like saying, hey, this is Luke Skywalker now, a young Luke Skywalker. Everyone would be like, oh, this is cool. That means we're going to get more of this, because they're not hiding the fact that it's not Mark Hamill, it's somebody else completely. And then you give this guy an opportunity.
Yeah, I think they made the best decision. I think they're gonna special edition it in the future and make it look better and everything. But I think for right now, because I saw a lot of people's reaction videos on YouTube, and a lot of people didn't know it was Luke Skywalker until he took off the hood. And if they would have saw somebody different other than Mark Hamill, they would have even been more confused. Which
I get that. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% correct.
Not for people like us, but I mean, as soon. I think as soon. So when did you know that was Luke Skywalker? As soon as the X-wing showed up,
no,
or when you saw the cloak?
When I saw the green lightsaber.
Okay.
When it, because you see him. I mean, mind you, I'm over here saying to myself, that's not Luke. Like, there's no way the show did that, you know, in my head. And then when you see him, I'm thinking that's Luke, but no, it can't be Luke. It can't be Luke. And then when I saw the blade, the green blade, I was like, oh my gosh, they freaking did it. You know, that was when I lost my mind. It was when you just see the blade come into frame, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. But yeah, I would have, like I said, I would have been fine if they would have cast somebody else as him, because then, like I said, that opens the door for maybe seeing Luke later on and not having to rely on the visual effects and everything. Because I don't know, there's a whole debate about movies doing that now. Then, you know, that even goes to the Irishman with Martin Scorsese. You know, like, you kind of, you know, you get De Niro looking young, you get Pacino and Joe Pesci looking young, and then you kind of, you know, you lose a little bit of talent because you don't hire young actors to play these parts. You know, you kind of just push all the young actors out, and then you just let these guys play the parts again. You know, that's my whole thing is, give somebody else a chance. But it was still great though to see Luke Skywalker. And I agree, they're probably going to special edition it over the years and make him look even more better, as, I don't know, that's what Star Wars does.
Yeah, going back to the Good Morning America interview with Jon Favreau, he talked about how nervous they were for Luke Skywalker being spoiled. And every other casting got spoiled. Yes. I mean, it was Timothy Olyphant. I mean, we knew all this like in February, March.
Yes.
Cobb Vanth, Ahsoka Tano. Did we know? I can't remember anymore if we knew about Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan.
No, but we knew about
Tamir Morrison.
And then her sidekick.
Oh yeah, Mercedes Vernado. Yeah, Sasha Banks.
Yeah, we knew about her before we knew about Katie Sackhoff being. I think there was a slight rumor, but it like quickly was like, no, she's not going to be in there.
And the big thing was that she was going to be Sabine, and of course she wasn't.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, apparently Katie Sackhoff was told like years ago by Fat Filoni, you know, hey, if this works, you know, maybe we could do live action. And she was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. You know, she was like, cool, whatever you say. And then they're there on the set, and then she was like, oh my gosh. And Filoni was like, yep, I told you.
Yeah.
Man, it's great to see Filoni there, to hear his interviews. Excuse me, and to hear his interviews, I was like, oh my gosh, man, this guy gets it, man. He gets Star Wars, and it's awesome to hear him talk about it. And I saw a TikTok with him, or it was an interview, and he said that some guy came up to him and he was like, so all you're gonna do is just make Star Wars for kids? And he was like, yeah. And yeah. And the guy was like, that's not fair. And he goes, okay, let me ask you this question. When did you first watch Star Wars? And the guy was like, man. And like the guy like says, well, I was 7 years old and my dad took me to the movies to watch it. He goes, okay, so you want me to rob a kid of that experience now because you don't want it to be for kids? And I was like, well, I mean, and he's like, and they usually stop talking after
that. Yeah.
Hey, Matt, what's up? Thank you for joining us. Sorry, I'm talking too much. But no, like I said, everybody, even Famuyiwa, talking about that scene and that his moment in Star Wars with the believer, if that was what it was called, right? that one was, I don't know, that one's slowly becoming my favorite of the episodes, only because they did take the time to do that scene with Bill Burr, Mandalorian, and then the captain. And I don't know, it was just such a great thing to see in Star Wars that you're not used to seeing in Star Wars. And Bill Burr looks like he's coming around finally and being I don't know if you know anything about Bill Burr, man. He always talked trash about Star Wars, and
yeah, he said he didn't watch his episode, but he said he wanted to watch a couple scenes that he wanted to see how they turned out, and yeah, man, they turned out really good.
Yeah, he said his wife was watching it, and he heard her reaction, and he was kind of like, "Okay, maybe I'll go watch it." I guess he was nervous, but man, he's got some acting chops on him, man. And that episode was really good, and I hope Famuyiwa stays with Star Wars now. I mean, obviously, we want him to make all of his other projects, but I hope they keep bringing him back to do more Star Wars related stuff, because he is awesome and he gets it. He really gets Star Wars, just like they all do, which is all you could ask for whenever you do something Star Wars related, that they all get Star Wars.
Yeah, I really think that a lot of other things will spin off other than just the series. I think some of these people are going to get films. A lot of people called for Bryce Dallas Howard to get a film after the Eris episode. And I'm really excited and happy for Katie Sackhoff, because I know that she auditioned for a lot of like huge films where she was like number 2, number 3 choice after whoever got casted.
Oh, man.
So she was right there getting a huge break. And in the sci-fi community, I know she's pretty big for being Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
And she was cast to type by Filoni because he was a fan of Battlestar. And he thought Bo-Katan had a lot of the same qualities as Starbuck. And he talked about how he mentioned to her that, hey, if this goes well, you might have a chance for live action. And we're here now, and it feels like that she's going to have a major role in the future of Star Wars streaming.
Especially, yeah. Oh, yeah, very true.
I think she's locked in for a while, and just her having that conflict with Din Djarin, owning the title now of of the heir to the Mandalorian throne with the Darksaber. I mean, what's going to happen with that? I think that's going to be the major kind of conflict in Mandalorian season 3. So, I mean, is she going to become almost like a villain? But then you got Giancarlo talking about in interviews where he's getting better with the Darksaber. So what's all that about? If he's telling us something we should know.
Or maybe he was just did that one fight and that's it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's possible, because Sasha Banks, she basically lied to everyone. She said she wasn't going to appear in any episodes this season. So, yeah.
I don't know. I think Disney and Lucasfilm tell people like what to say. Like in this interview, you can only do this, you can only say that. And so I don't know. There's that great interview with I forget, maybe it was at Celebration, and Diamond Hall Gleason, he said, yeah, they're at Starkiller Base. I mean, can I say that? And you see Abrams going, it's fine. Like, just look at him like, no, it's yeah, you can say that. And you could tell that Abrams was like, oh my gosh, like, don't tell everybody. Like, that was supposed to be a secret that there was a base called Starkiller Base. But yeah, that's a funny clip.
That was an awesome moment. I've seen that panel dozens of times. It was so awesome to start off the sequel trilogy. They had everyone there, and it was at Comic-Con.
Oh, that's right.
That was the first time they had all the villains on stage as well. And it was so funny when Adam Driver was asked a question. I think Chris Hardwick was like, "Can you tell us anything about your character?" And then Adam Driver simply said, "No." And then Chris Hardwick said, "Okay, Domhnall Gleeson." And then Domhnall Gleeson was like, Are you seriously skipping to me?" And then JJ was like, "Say something, Adam." And Adam's like, "What do you want me to say?" Yeah. It was an awesome time. And I mean, it was so unexpected that Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill were going to show up too.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I was kind of wrong that Harrison Ford's first Comic-Con panel experience was for Cowboys versus Aliens, I think.
Yeah.
And it should have been for Star Wars. But
And Jon Favreau directed that one. Don't forget, Favreau directed that one.
Did he?
Yeah, Jon Favreau directed Cowboys versus Aliens. It was right after.
Wow,
Iron Man.
I totally deleted that from my mind.
Yeah, everybody else did, but yeah, Favreau directed Cowboys versus Aliens.
Yeah, it starred Daniel Craig and
Harrison Ford and Olivia Wilde. Or Olivia.
Okay.
I didn't see it though. I didn't want to see it.
You didn't want to see it?
It didn't. I mean, I wanted to, but then after I started like hearing about it, how people were kind of like, "It's nothing spectacular. It's not as spectacular as it should have been." Then I was like, "All right, never mind." Because in my mind, I thought, "Oh, this is the greatest crossover, in history." Like this would be amazing, but they didn't. Apparently, it didn't deliver that well. But
so that was like Favreau's one like kind of dud. Because everything else he's done has been pretty decent. Like better than average to great. I mean, I never saw Zathura. Did you see that?
Never saw Zathura? Yeah, I used to watch that. I watched that a lot because my brother Matt, who I don't know if he's on anymore, he and my nephew used to love to watch that movie. And so finally one day I was like, I'll watch it. And then I'm watching it. I'm like, this is pretty cute. This is pretty cool. It's pretty action packed. And even in the interview and like behind the scenes, Jon Favreau is saying like, yes, he says Zathura was badass. Hey, Ricardo. No, even in behind the scenes, Jon Favreau says like they took a lot of stuff from Star Wars and building stuff practically and so you can really see it on set. So even then, Favreau was like talking about Star Wars and how Star Wars inspired him to do this stuff. And I was like, that's pretty cool that all these years later, here he is. And speaking of which, I mean, the fact that they're using models for Mandalorian instead of just digitally adding ships in is awesome. Like John Knoll is still doing those iconic passes with the camera and the models, like they build these things, then they shoot them, and they do all that. Like that amazes me that they did it in season 1, but it's still cool that they're still doing it in season 2. They're still
it's almost like, so John Knoll started with the Phantom Menace. And for those of you that don't know, he invented Photoshop with his brother, so he's a genius. So yeah, he really wanted to work on Star Wars, and he just, back in the day, he took out the phone book and called, and they invited him in, and that pretty much changed his life. But it's cool that he's doing what they did in the 70s now in the present, when I don't think he did that at all for the prequels.
No.
But yeah, I mean, and we came to find out later on that the footage that we saw at Celebration in Chicago, where they showed John Knoll with the little like Canon camera doing the passes, that was specially for Celebration. They rushed them to do that footage just so we could see it, to see what they were going to do. And I'm pretty sure they use that same footage, but yeah, they put a time crunch on them.
Now that I think about it, I think there were a few of those. The Naboo starfighters were done that way, and with the models on a few of the shots. They weren't all digital.
I don't think so.
I am most certain either it was just the explosion shot, or they did like one of the passes of them coming down was shot that way, or it was models. I don't know. I think he was working on that type of stuff in the Phantom Menace, but nothing like the old school, old school stuff that they did in A New Hope, with how you put that thing there and the camera just, I forget the frame rate you have to fly at it to make it look realistic. And it's pretty cool. And apparently he does it all in his garage. Like he built that, like all those shots of there in The Mandalorian are in John Knoll's garage that he built.
See, my thought on that is that when John Knoll joined the project for the prequels, I think he thought he was going to do what he's doing now for The Mandalorian and never got to do it. So he's like fulfilling a Star Wars dream.
That makes sense.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's pretty good. I like that a lot, that he's like, ooh, now I get to do this. And like one of the things I like that they did, which was they built the model, like they built the Razor Crest, they built the Star Destroyer, and then they scan it and they're able to they project it on the volume so you can see it. So they're using all types of filmmaking to make this thing possible. I mean, they're using old school techniques as well as like
puppets, CG, the Unreal Engine, the volume, practical effects, Force FX lightsabers, pretty much.
Yeah, when I saw Ahsoka with that, I was like, oh, that's a Force FX lightsaber. That's cool. They were able to buy one for her. What's up, Jacob?
Yeah, they made them from scratch, so they weren't quite a Force FX lightsaber. And some of the Force FX lightsabers, especially the Luke one, like the one I have, the hilt is not identical to what the hilt is in the films because it's like skinnier towards the top.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean the tubing looks exactly the same in the end cap at the top of the blade. That it looks exactly like a Force FX lightsaber. But of course, they go back and post. And one of the interesting things that I saw in gallery, if you look at the Darksaber when Giancarlo's fighting Lateef Crowder in the Mando suit, he's using a rounded blade. He's not using an actual like flat Darksaber blade.
Oh, okay.
So they replaced it all in post.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense though, because you don't want to hurt somebody, or maybe they couldn't figure out a way to get it without breaking off.
Well, Peyton Reed said that they were breaking a bunch of them.
Yeah, so I think they had to kind of shape it differently. What's up, Chris?
And that's like a Star Wars tradition going back all the way to the Phantom Menace when they were like bending the rods that they were using.
Yeah,
and they were having to like pry them back into shit. Yeah, I remember that so vividly. Shout out to Nick Gillard wherever you're at.
Yeah, Nick Gillard, come back to Star Wars, Nick. I want to see you do another Star Wars fight because man, you did
probably for Kenobi.
Oh my gosh, that would be the best. No, yeah, you remind me of that. There's a shot of Nick Gillard in the Phantom Menace, and there's like a pipe, and he like sticks the blade in there, and he's like bending it. He's like, you have to be careful because if he turns on, you're in big trouble. Just having a joke, like and yeah, and if you ever watch like Ewan McGregor fighting with his stick was always like curved in and all messed up, and I think when they finally got to Attack of the Clones, they were able to get a blade that you could use that could glow, but I don't think you could fight with that. I think you could turn it on, it would glow on your face. And now they perfected that, it looks like. And so whenever you see Ahsoka fighting the magistrate, like that light off their faces is the actual light of the lightsaber. So they don't have to go back and digitally add it in, which always amazed me in The Empire Strikes Back. Whenever Vader gets the blade really close to Luke's face, you could see that the light, and I'm like, how did they do that back in 79 or 80? Like, how did they achieve that without having an actual light on his face? I don't know. They did some crazy stuff back in the day. But yeah. What else we got?
The Dark Troopers, there were actually people in those suits, and that kind of astounded me. I thought it was just all CGI, but yeah, they put people in suits and they just remove their limbs where they could see them and replace them with gears and wires and
just like they did with L3. It looks like L3 was kind of the
yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah, because they had her actually in the suit, and they went through and digitally removed her and added in the stuff. And I like what Favreau said, and the reason why he wanted to do that, which was because if you shine the light on their helmet, it's gonna look different, and if you shine it on a digital thing, it's gonna look perfect. So he needed those imperfections, and he referenced, of course, the shot in A New Hope with Vader holding up that guy by the neck and how the light is on his helmet. And if you watch, the Mandalorian, you're like, oh my gosh, they got it. Like he was right. Like that makes it look so much more realistic. And like I said, I love that they're going back and watching all of the old movies and using them as reference and everything in this amazing show.
Yeah, and then Matthew Wood has returned to play Bib Fortuna. And yeah, it's so cool that they actually used the staff from the Kenner toy that you never saw on screen for Return of the Jedi, but they gave him the staff to make that Kenner figure finally complete on screen. And yeah, he played Bib Fortuna in The Phantom Menace when he pokes Jabba on the side. And of course, he was his Leku were a lot thinner back then. So yeah, apparently he ate all the Gamorrean guards' food and put them on a diet. They shrunk and he got bigger.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. And just to see Doug Chang on set too, the vice president of Lucasfilm. And he actually made most of the designs. I think pretty much all the designs, for all the spaceships. And I think the spaceships primarily, right, for the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
So yeah, he designed the Naboo N1 starfighter.
Yeah, that was
which is still one of my favorite ships.
Yeah, that ship is always going to be beautiful to me. Such an awesome ship. And so you remember how Matthew Wood got that part, right? He talked about it at Celebration, because in case you don't know, Matthew Wood is also a sound designer, and I think he has risen up to Ben Burtt's status in the world of Star Wars with the sound effects that he's been working on, and he's been sound editing and sound mixing for Star Wars since Episode 1. Apparently, they were in a meeting, and George Lucas or somebody said, "Hey, you're pretty tall. Like, we may need you to play a part." And he said, "Okay." That was it. Like, that was all they said was, "You're pretty tall. We need someone to play Bib Fortuna." So that's how he got the part. And he went on set for a day. They made him up, and then he did that scene, and that was it. And then all these years later, Favreau and Filoni, keeping up with that tradition, were like, he's got to come back and play him again. And it was so appropriate that it was him in that suit again. Even though he's not an actor, he's just an amazing sound designer, and he's also the voice of General Grievous. In case y'all don't know, he is the amazing,
and the battle droids.
Yes, and the battle droids. He is, and it's pretty great to see his name. Like I've been seeing his name for years in Star Wars. It always says, sound designer, sound edit Matthew Woods. It's like, oh, that's awesome. But yeah, I love that he came back as Bib Fortuna in that giant old fat suit that he had on, and it's pretty great.
Yeah, they talked about the fact that they really couldn't accurately recreate Jabba's palace interior in the volume. They actually had to build the set, which was really cool. And they built the steps. And Peyton Reed talks about that mobile that's hanging where Leia hits it with her head. And yeah, man, just to recreate that set. I mean, that's so awesome that they did that. And everyone that watched the show, that watched Chapter 16, they saw Matthew Wood's credit as Bib Fortuna, and everyone was like, "Wait a minute, what did I miss?
Where's Bib Fortuna at?" Yeah.
And I didn't even know that there was going to be an after credit scene until Sam when we did the live stream. He brought it up, and I was like, "What?" I had heard nothing about that.
You didn't watch it when you first watched? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we did watch it.
Okay,
Sam was there. He said something about it, and I was like, "What?" But yeah, that was a piece of information I didn't know about. So yeah, when we saw it, it was like, wow, that answered all of the questions and kind of validated all of our thoughts that we had on Boba Fett being a show that was shooting. And we got further confirmation on GMA, the Book of Boba Fett. And see, we just don't know if it's going to be 4 episodes, 6 episodes. Apparently it's going to be a limited series, but it should lead into the Mandalorian season 3 whenever that's going to drop.
I have a feeling that Book of Boba Fett is also going to be kind of like a test run for Lucasfilm to see how well they can do this. Because what I think, in order for this show to be what everyone wants it to be, they're going to have to do flashbacks. They're going to have to do like, this is what's happening now, but then this is also what happened then. And they have to kind of go back and forth, because a lot of people want to see Boba Fett in his prime. A lot of people want to see Boba Fett, doing Boba Fett things. And then plus the big thing is, how did Boba Fett survive the Sarlacc pit? Everyone's going to want to see that. So I think they're going to be doing a lot of flashbacks and seeing how it works. And if we're all thinking the Kenobi series is going to be what we think it's going to be, it's also going to be doing the same thing. So it feels like Lucasfilm is trying to see if this will work. And I think it's going to work. I think both characters are very beloved, that we will watch anything and everything with these characters. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to be like, oh, it's okay. No, I think whatever they give us, we're going to love, because I don't know. They've proven right now with The Mandalorian, they know what they're doing with Star Wars.
Right. So, Favreau and Filoni, we know we're going to be involved in the Book of Boba Fett. So yeah, it should be really good. So Wonder Woman came out on Christmas Day, which is yesterday.
Seen it yet. I have not seen it yet, so don't spoil much for me.
Well, can I tell you what I thought about it?
I mean,
without spoiling it?
I guess.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Uh-oh, here we go.
To me, I think it was just another kind of paint by number sequel. But see, I thought the original Wonder Woman was the same thing, and it's directed by Patty Jenkins, who's going to direct Rogue Squadron, which comes out in 2023. So I'm a little kind of nervous.
Well, you got to remember, Warner Brothers is really weird with their superhero movies for some odd reason. Like, I don't know. They're just so busy trying to catch up to Marvel that it's like they don't know what they're doing. But it looks like Lucasfilm kind of has an idea what they're doing. I know you like Man of Steel. I'm sorry, don't get mad at me. I know you're a big fan of Man of Steel, but I think Lucasfilm will give her enough tools and everything to kind of bring out an awesome Star Wars story. I trust her. I think she's got to do a good job.
And I
but
hope
not you.
So. I really hope so, because it just seemed like there was really not a lot special about Wonder Woman 84. It just felt like it was a well executed film, but there was nothing that jumped out. You know, It was just paint by numbers, just a superhero film. There was nothing that was different. That I don't know, but I'm just a super critical film fan. I mean, I've been watching superhero films since the 80s, so. Yeah, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I hope she does amazingly fantastic. And she said she's been dreaming about doing a fighter pilot film for a long time, and her dad was a fighter pilot. And so
I think we're gonna see some cool stuff. That's what I think. I'm pretty excited about what's gonna happen with that one. But yeah. So if y'all haven't seen Gallery, go watch. I know we kind of spoiled a lot of it, but I don't know. I was telling somebody the other day, behind the scenes of Star Wars is always equally as fascinating as the movie itself, because what they do behind the scenes to make these movies possible, now this show possible, always blows me away with the technology they are creating to tell the story. And it just, and when they talk about Mandalorian, creating new technology, I was like, what, how can they do that? Everything's already been discovered, and now we're seeing like how they're shaping television now, and how you can do shots that you would never, ever could do if you did, if you weren't in the volume. Like there's that shot of Mandalorian going through the city in the first episode of season 2. That shot you could never do outside. You'd have to wait for a certain time of day, and you'd only have like 20 minutes to shoot it in the morning and in the evening. And they were able to do it all right then and there. It just amazes me how much freedom the volume gives them, to where you get these amazing shots. Like the shot of Ahsoka and the magistrate about to fight is always like, oh my gosh, like that is such a beautifully lit moment, and you could never achieve that outside normally. And so I love that this technology is still improving with Star Wars. It's my little 2 cents there.
Yeah, and it's George Lucas's legacy, pushing the technology, pushing the boundaries, and kind of trusting in technology. And I always love hearing George Lucas reference the first technology was invented by cavemen who drew on walls, like the pencil, the piece of chalk. That's just technology that people use to tell a story. And I mean, we're moving so far into the future here, and it feels like a Star Wars series wasn't possible for TV when they tried to, when they kind of attempted it, and now is like the perfect time. It's perfect timing. I mean, I'm fortunate that we have the pandemic, but fortunate that we have Disney Plus during this time, because if a film was supposed to come out, I mean, how would we get it? I mean, if Disney Plus didn't exist, I mean, would they sell it to Amazon or something, and then we'd see it from their streaming service? I think Disney played their cards right. And
I think they did a good job with this whole thing going forward. And now we got to see how well Soul did. The movie Soul is doing right now, and if their subscriber numbers went up, because if their subscriber numbers went up to watch that movie and they see a lot of traffic for that, then they're going to just keep putting their movies on Disney Plus, and that's going to be kind of sad. But I think Star Wars will always be shown in theaters. I hope. It says Facebook user Star Wars Stuff Pod. What's up? Hello.
Hello, Facebook user.
Hello, Facebook user. What else we got? What else we got today?
So Rain Roberts is going to help out with the Acolyte, which she is one of the lesser known people from the Star Wars group, from the Star Wars story group. But yeah, she's been around, and it seems like every single person in the story group has a different title as well. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think more of these Star Wars story group people like kind of move out of the role as I think of them as like double checkers. They just double check to see if the story doesn't conflict with existing canon. And I think we were all under the impression that they were actually going to develop original stories, but that didn't really happen.
No, it did not.
So yeah, because we got Matt Martin, Leland Chee, Diana Williams, and who am I forgetting? Pablo Hidalgo.
Yeah, Pablo.
I think there's another person, Rain Roberts, and I think there's someone else. I think there's another female, but yeah, we haven't heard a whole lot of them. I know Pablo dropped off of Twitter. He blocked everyone except for a few people. So, which is unfortunate. I always enjoyed reading his tweets. So, yeah.
But yeah, pretty soon David and I will be on the story group of Star Wars. So just wait. We're gonna get there one day, David. Don't worry.
Yeah, just don't hold your breath.
Yeah, just don't hold your breath for too long. Should we? Do you want to brag about us a little bit, David, or do you want to
go for it, James? Take it away.
Are you sure? I didn't mean to like change the subject here. Oh, Chris, David thinks we're gonna. Or I'm not saying thinks but we're hoping we get more episodes of the gallery, and they're gonna explain how they did that. And I'm pretty sure if they do how they did it last season with the gallery, we're not gonna get Luke's like reveal, if you may, and how they did it until like the last episode of the gallery. So we'll see.
So sometime in February.
Yeah. Sometime in February, we're going to see how they did Luke Skywalker. Okay. So yesterday we put on Instagram a shot of, it was Rosario Dawson and George Lucas. And Colin's in charge of our Instagram. I just wanted to put that out there. Him and Brooke are doing awesome with our Instagram stuff. So thank y'all for doing that, Colin and Brooke. So they tagged Rosario Dawson in our story post, and she liked it. Like Rosario Dawson liked our post, and he texted us last night. We lost our minds. We're like, oh my gosh, Rosario Dawson saw a Star Wars stuff post. It was nuts. And so we wrote to her, thanked her, and said, hey, if you ever want to join us, we would really like it if you'd like to join the podcast one day and for an episode. Of course, she didn't write us back, and she's probably never going to write us back, but still, it was pretty great that she did acknowledge our little podcast. So I thought we would share that with y'all. It freaked us out though. Like I couldn't sleep last night, honestly, because I was too busy going, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, if anyone on the Mandalorian or Lucasfilm wants to come on the podcast and just hang out with us, do it.
Please
join us.
Please. We're pretty cool people, and we love Star Wars. We're not going to be one of those. I don't know. There's a lot of negativity out there, and I come across a lot of negativity, and I like our little podcast because I know David and I don't agree on stuff. Colin and I don't agree on stuff, and we all just kind of hey, that's it. That's how it is, Star Wars is for. There's a part of Star Wars for everybody. I was talking to somebody last week who this girl he's talking to showed him the Machete order of Star Wars. So he's watching it that way. He says it's really cool. So I was like, that's okay. That's exciting. He was like, dude, my favorite episode's episode 2. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. I really liked episode 2. I thought that was a really cool thing. And I was like, okay. Like I wasn't going to be like, you're stupid for now. I was just like, dude, yeah, it just goes to show you that Star Wars is for everybody and that there's not one right or wrong best movie in Star Wars. Everyone has their own opinion. Like I was like, hey, just so you know, episode 2 is not my favorite, but if somebody was like, hey, they're going to show episode 2 in theaters next week, I'll be like, I'm going to go there the moment it comes out to watch it because it's Star Wars, And I don't know. That's what I like about our podcast is that we all have different opinions about Star Wars, but in the end, hey, George Lucas created it, and here we all we're all still here talking about it. Oh, by the way, David, my brother Matt said that my nephew loves your helmets in the background there.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Yeah, I'm trying to get more. I have a couple more. Yeah, I have a Din Djarin on the way, and then the Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett helmet on the way too.
And then Colin's trying to is he trying to make his Din Djarin Mandalorian costume?
No, he's not trying. He's making the Din Djarin.
Oh, sorry.
He's becoming Din Djarin. Yeah.
Yeah, Colin is.
I think the full Beskar Din Djarin, right? I don't think it's the season 1. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the full because he sent us a picture yesterday. He got like all the stuff like the gun, the fob, and then the a few other things, and he said he's gonna have to ship them because he can't go on the plane because right now he's in Michigan and he's gonna have to fly down to Florida. He's like, I'm pretty sure TSA is not gonna be like, what the hell is going on? Like, when all the Jedi start up their lightsabers. That's a great way to put it, Chris. Yeah, that was really cool. And I saw my brother Matt's on here. He took my brother Charlie and I to watch episode 2 in theaters, and I remember we were like, oh my god, this is awesome. And and Yoda pulled out that lightsaber. That was just one of the coolest things. And yeah, all the Jedi coming out, turning on their lightsabers was freaking awesome. So yeah, episode 2 has some of the coolest like shots in Star Wars. I don't know.
Yeah, the most anticipated thing for me was the Yoda lightsaber battle. We knew it was coming, and I'll never forget it. I was actually in New Braunfels, and my buddy Sam, who you met, that was the first person you met at the. He was a projectionist, and he was like, "There might be a chance we can watch it like 2 or 3 days before it drops."
Wow.
He's like, "But don't count on it." So I was in New Braunfels at the time, and he called me. He's like, you can come and see it 3 days before release. So yeah, we went like after the day's run of showings happened. I think it was on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
We were there after hours, and I watched it there with all the employees there. And he actually gave me one of the official movie posters. I still have it in the tube that it arrived in. It's the one of Hayden and
their backs
to each other, right? Yes.
That was my first banner. I remember I saw it. I was like, "Oh my god, this is awesome!"
Yeah, I gotta get it framed, man. I gotta get it professionally framed and hang that up because, my buddy's been like, "You still haven't got that framed yet." So yeah,
Chris, I've never high-fived so many people until watching that film when I was 8. Yeah, dude. Because I wanted it to happen, and I remember whenever Dooku like throws Anakin away, and then Hobby Lobby does it cheap, the framing, and then you hear the cane coming, and you just see the shadow. I remember everybody in the theater, and even my brothers and I were like, "Oh, like oh!" And then Yoda walked in, and Dooku's trying to throw all the stuff at him, and Yoda's just stopping it all. And then he's like, "It's obvious this." I forget how the line he says, "Won't be fought with our knowledge of the Force, but with our skills of the lightsaber." Then he salutes him, and then Yoda pulls out his lightsaber, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Mm-hmm. And then it was just it was the coolest fight I'd ever seen, and I thought that was really great. I thought that was such a cool thing that George Lucas gave us there with that movie was Yoda fighting with the lightsaber, because it all goes back. What's up?
Do you think we'll ever see Grogu fight with the lightsaber?
I have no idea if we're gonna see. I don't think so. I don't think Grogu's actually gonna get a lightsaber as much as we all want him to. I don't think he's gonna get that far in his training, in my opinion.
See, I think we are.
Oh, okay.
Every like reasonable thought that we have now is out the window after Luke Skywalker showed up. So yeah, we're gonna get some time jumps here, I think, in future Mandalorian seasons. And the final like Thrawn Thanos battle that we're getting at the very end, it might be Grogu v whatever Thrawn uses, whatever other like dark side user shows up.
And man, that's just I don't know. That'd be really great. Yeah, you're right. Everything's out the window right now, because one thing that they could do with this plot line of Mandalorian is they can have it go almost all the way up to The Force Awakens and past The Force Awakens. Like they can go all the way there, which they almost will do, because Favreau has said like they're going to show the beginnings of the First Order, and we're already starting to see the beginnings of the First Order and everything like that with this show.
And Moff Gideon keeps on saying order. So
even the other Imperial guy was like, everyone just wants order, and I was like, we're getting it. We're getting the First Order. But anyways, I don't know. I don't know how Grogu's gonna. How do you think we're gonna bring Grogu back? I think Grogu's gonna come back in a way that we're all gonna be cheering and crying at the same time, because the reunion between them is gonna be just beautiful. Like it's gonna be such a beautiful moment. And I'd like to think that, and I don't know if I've told y'all, but I don't think Grogu is gonna become a Jedi. I think he's going to leave the Jedi Order to go be with Din Djarin. I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to realize that if he keeps going down that path, his attachments to Din Djarin and everyone else is going to end up bringing him down the dark side. He's going to leave, and he'll be able to now go on adventures and everything. That's what I think is going to happen. But he's going to be powerful enough to help him fight during the big Thanos Thrawn, meet up there at the very end. That's what I think is going to happen. But I don't know. Putting Luke in there was one of the best things they did, but also one of those things where now we have a set timeline of what needs to happen before, now we have about 15 years where we know what's going to happen eventually in the very end. Is it 15? I forget how many years it was.
14 years, I believe.
Is it 14 years we have?
Right,
now?
because Rey was 19, and it's 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
And then, but also we got to figure out when Ben Solo kills everybody in the temple too. So like I'm saying, we only have this little bit of time now to figure out what's going to happen now. And that's the thing with, they brought Luke back. Yes, it's awesome. And now it's like, man, now we just have this little bit to deal with, because pretty soon Ben Solo's got to kill everybody, and then Luke's got to go into hiding. So I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know how they're going to. Luke's face was, and that's what a lot of people would say. But it was still Luke. It was still Luke Skywalker. Come on.
I didn't even care.
I was like, this is awesome. But yeah, I don't know how they're gonna bring Grogu back. But they have to bring him back. I know Rudy and I were having a conversation, and he was like, this is how the pitch probably went with Favreau and Kennedy. He was like, so yeah, then Grogu leaves, and then the episode's over, and Kennedy was like, oh, that's cool, but he's coming back. And Favreau was like, no, I think he's gonna be, and Kennedy's like, no, he's coming back. He's coming back.
Yeah, you got to figure he's coming back in some way,
how
shape,
much
or
money
form.
this little green guy has made Star Wars.
And see, that's why I think there's going to be a Luke Skywalker series of him creating his new Jedi Academy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing that would make sense, because that's what we also want to see. The gap between 3 and 4 is getting filled pretty well now, to where we're all pretty satisfied. And now the other gap was between 6 and 7, where we're like, what happened? And what is so I think we're gonna get that. I don't know about the Luke show, but I think we're gonna be getting other stuff that's gonna be happening between there. But I don't know. Hopefully.
Yeah, before then we have a lot of stuff that's coming out. The High Republic's about to come out, and then after that, the Bad Batch.
Yeah, High Republic happens not next week, but the week after. High Republic's happening very soon, everybody. So hopefully you have your books. Hopefully you have your Audible subscriptions ready to go, because it's got to be awesome, because now we're going to see a whole new era of Star Wars that we've never seen before. Maybe we have, with the Old Republic, but now we're getting the Disney Old Republic, High Republic thing happening right now.
Right, so and the High Republic's going to lead into the Acolyte film that's going to come out by Leslie Headland. So it's still going to be worthwhile if you're just into the live action stuff. I mean, you're going to want backstory.
Yes,
on High Republic.
And my prediction is, once we have this High Republic timeline established, with the books, with the comic books, and now with the show, the Acolyte, then I think they're going to go back even further and explain more about that past. And then Lucasfilm and Disney are going to start bringing in the Old Republic stuff, like the stuff that everyone loves, the Knights of the Old Republic. I think we're going to be getting that, but probably maybe 4 or 5 more years, we'll start to see more of that stuff.
Yeah, Darth Bane, Darth Revan.
We need a James, Rudy, and David commentary. What do y'all want us to watch? We've already done commentaries. We haven't done the prequels yet. The prequels are the only things we haven't watched.
We did half of the Phantom Menace in Chicago, right?
Yep, we did half of the Phantom Menace in Chicago. We still got to finish that one, or just start over again and do it. Yeah. We had a plan on how we were going to finish that, but Celebration did not happen this year, so we didn't get to complete that. But yeah, I would love to do another commentary. I just want to know what y'all want us to watch. Because if you go to our Patreon, Rudy and I have 3 commentaries from the movie. We have Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker commentaries on our Patreon. And then Rudy and I did all of the season 2 commentaries. And David helped us with the first episode of the commentaries. And that was a lot of fun. But we just couldn't line up our schedules after that because Rudy and I had to meet every morning, like early in the morning. And I was
I had to
usually,
sleep.
yeah, and I was usually very tired when we did those things. So hopefully they all
Yeah.
turned out good, and hopefully y'all enjoy those.
Yeah,
But
apparently they did. We got a lot of people watching them on Patreon, and then that's where you can find us at Star Wars Stuff Podcast 2187. And I'm about to load up more commentaries for the Clone Wars as well.
yeah,
So
Colin and Matt and Sam, right? They all do, and I think Ray also joined them for a few of them as well.
yes.
And we
So
have a Ray on our podcast, which is pretty great.
yeah.
So what did Ray say the other day? She was like, they need to use the Face app for the Disney movies, and where you can like replace your face. And she sent us this last shot of the Rise of Skywalker with her face instead of Daisy Ridley's, and we are like, oh my gosh, it looks perfect. That looks amazing. But
yeah, we still don't have a definitive answer on why they just didn't use like deepfake technology for Mark Hamill.
I think it scares the big boys because how easy it is to do, and they know that once they start doing it, then that's it. Movies are completely you could recast any movie now after that, you know.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that Lucasfilm made an investment in the technology that they're using, so they're like, well, we need to use it. We already paid the money for it. Let's use it. We have the employees. We can keep them employed. We can pay them. So I think that's what it came down to, rather than having like a 12-year-old in their bedroom do the deepfake and it looking better.
Chris says, "Go through it all, man. Start from the beginning." You want us to watch all 9 movies? Rogue One, and we haven't done Solo.
Yeah, we haven't done Solo.
That'd be a fun one to do.
Maybe we need to after every like huge piece of media that drops, we should just redo all of them, because every new piece of media kind of recontextualizes the previous films.
Yeah, you're right.
So we have more things to say and more thoughts and theories and just everything. So yeah, that is a pretty good idea, I think.
Thanks, Chris. Now you gave us a lot of work to do here pretty soon. We'll start that next year. We'll start uploading our we'll do a Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker, Rogue One, Solo. And
maybe we should do it like how we're kind of doing the Clone Wars, and we do it in chronological order, starting off with
so
I guess
1,
the
2,
Phantom
3,
Menace.
Rogue One. Oh no, Solo, Rogue One, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. You're welcome.
And then the Mandalorian.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you forgot the Clone Wars. You got to watch all the Clone Wars episodes.
Oh, we're gonna have that up already. So
okay, cool. But yeah. Join our Patreon, and David will put the link right there if you want to listen to our commentaries that we have coming up here pretty soon. Apparently now, and Rudy will be excited to join those. Rudy's always pumped to do anything Star Wars. But yeah, anything else today?
I think that's pretty much it. We're just hyped up for High Republic. That's going to drop on Audible, hopefully, and I'm going to be on top of that and try and do reviews on that.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
And do y'all have any questions? Those who are still listening to our thing, and if you're listening to us Monday, which thank you so much for listening to our podcast on Monday and throughout the week. If you join our Star Wars Facebook group page and our YouTube page, we have the links there and all the show notes. You will see that we do go live sometimes, and we will just have a nice conversation with our listeners and everything. Like right now today, we had a few people watching, and if you ever want to join us, just hit us up, and we'll what's up, Kevin? We will gladly and love to hear your thoughts and to talk to you about Star Wars, because that's what we love to do. Just talk about Star Wars. And everybody at work will always come up to me and ask me a Star Wars question, and there I am for like 2 hours explaining something about Star Wars. And I don't know, I'm the go-to guy.
You're like the guy from It's Always Sunny, explaining things with like
I'm Charlie Day there in Star Wars, like this is what's happening. And my favorite discussion always was, hey, like, don't call him Baby Yoda because he's not Baby Yoda. They're like, why? I was like, because Yoda's dead. He's been dead for 6 years or 5 years. People are like, what?
Yeah, a lot of people, when they saw Luke Skywalker, they're like, hey, that can't be him, though.
Yeah, he's
dead.
Yeah, I had someone write me back, like, shouldn't he be old? I'm like, no, he's only like maybe 30 or maybe like 20.
That's like prime Luke Skywalker right there.
And they were like, what? And I was like, never mind.
Yeah.
This is so cool. Can we talk about the Mandalorian? We just did talk about the Mandalorian, but what do you want to know about the Mandalorian, Kevin? Like, what you got? Oh, yeah. Also, David, you need more stuff. Well, David's going to be doing High Republic stuff here pretty soon. And like I said, for Star Wars fans who feel like, I don't know, everything's kind of like overwhelming with all the information, the High Republic will be a great place to start because we're all kind of going to experience this for the first time as well. Like we're all very new to this timeline. So that's going to be kind of an exciting time to, I don't know, jump into the books.
I don't know. I think Chris is talking about the stuff behind me. He said you need more stuff.
I think he's talking about you need more stuff on Patreon. I'm just kidding. No, yeah, I think you do need more stuff back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have a big empty space there next to the Rebels book.
Oh, well, that's where Grogu was. I just pulled him down.
Oh, okay. He already made room for it.
Yeah.
No, David clearly doesn't have enough stuff behind him. Yeah, neither do I, though. I mean, I just have a few posters and stuff up.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So, yeah, definitely, contact us via email, Star Wars Stuff Podcast at gmail.com. Send us your thoughts, your questions, your suggestions, and even your Star Wars stories. It's really cool to see how you're listening to the podcast and what was your experience when you first experienced Star Wars. And it's always great to get those emails.
Yeah. Did you see Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian? Yeah. And it was awesome. And we all lost our minds. Hi from the UK, by the way. Jeez. What time is it in the UK right now? That blows me away that people are listening.
8 hours ahead, right?
Gee, many crickets.
So yeah, it's about 6:30.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That blows me away that people are listening to us from around the world right now. And here we are in Texas just talking about Star Wars. But yeah, no, Kevin, Luke showing up was awesome. And David is thinking that we're going to be getting a show of Luke Skywalker here pretty soon. We'll see. We'll see if they can, what they're going to give us. And I don't know. It's just, I say it all the time. It's a very great time to be a Star Wars fan right now. Like all this time of us waiting for more and more Star Wars stuff. It just happened. So we just got into another lockdown. So I'm going to watch lots of Star Wars. It's 5:30. Good grief. Sorry about that, man.
Okay.
Well, hopefully you enjoy a lot of Star Wars for us. but yeah, so anything else for the day, David?
I think that's pretty much it. But like I said earlier, hit us up on our email. We're also on Patreon. We're also on TikTok. Just search up Star Wars Stuff Podcast. You can see us there. And of course, we're on Twitter a whole lot more now at Stuff Pod. Instagram, of course, at Star Wars Stuff Podcast. And Facebook. We have a page, we have a group. We have tons of people joining all the time. Yeah. Now, I mean, you can't really spoil anything, I guess, maybe for gallery, but that's really not a spoiler. But
and also, I'd like to thank our listeners for getting us to number 2 in the Star Wars ranking on Apple Podcast.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Go to Apple Podcasts, even if you don't listen to Apple Podcasts, and give us a 5-star rating and write a review too. I mean, we're interested to see what you guys think of the show. So yeah, please. That's pretty much it.
One more thing. Chris has one quick question before you go.
Okay.
He says, David, what your favorite Star Wars thing you have?
I don't know. It might
here
be
we go, another 2 hours.
Welcome to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast. I don't know. It might be this now. I don't know. So
the Grogu. It's so cute, man. A little bit. You should just next episode we do just put him in front of the camera and then you just talk behind him. I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, you can see the reflection of everything in the background.
I can see deep into his soul in that thing, man. But yeah, yes, thank you so much for listening. Feel free to write us, and we'll be back next week with another awesome topic. And may the Force be with you.
Always.